Welcome to the marketing tool for January. We'll get started in just a minute or so, but I want to welcome those who are coming in, and I hope that you're having a good day and that it's warmer wherever you are than it is right here. We are a bit chilly in Philly. It is winter, that's to be expected, and at least it's maybe going to get above freezing today. Just give it another minute or so until we're at the top of the hour. And we'll be ready to go. I'm excited today to talk about surveys, polls, and quiz tools. Also, in case you're wondering, I did do a quick Facebook Live this morning at about 11:15 a.m. to talk about one of the tools that I'm liking, and I'm going to show to those of you who are here live today. I also did a Facebook Live last week. Both of them are probably 10 minutes or less, quick views. Again, talking about tools, and because, someone said, hey, why don't you try this? And I used a cool tool to make it a little easier to do a Facebook Live. I used a tool called BLive.tv. So I'm having fun trying that out. And just as another opportunity, another way to connect and have a chat about marketing and tools. So I'm going to hopefully share that link in the chat box in case you're interested and then you want to check it out. And if you haven't given my IntelliCraftResearch.com page a like on Facebook, do that, because then it'll send you a notification of when I'm going to go live. Because that's the other cool thing. BeLive lets you schedule, so does Facebook, lets you schedule a live in advance, and then lets people who are following you personally, your library, your page, your business, know when they're going to go live, so they don't necessarily miss it, which is pretty cool. So in fact, I'm going to go grab that tool and put that link in, and then we're going to get started here, okay? Just give me just 1 second. You get to watch. Apparently, you can look at the pretty horses in the background of my screen. So I'm just curious, where is everybody from today? If you want to throw it in the chat box, or let me know if you're chillier than I am in Philly or warmer, and I get to think of you pretty fondly. I'm actually fairly excited that I'm going to escape the cold for a short period of time because I'm going to be teaching some workshops for the Tampa Bay Library Consortium next week. And so Tampa will definitely be warmer than Philadelphia. So I'm excited about that. And there in the chat window is the link to the Facebook Live video that I did this morning. And from there, you can also obviously check out the video I did from a week ago and click the little like button so you get notifications of the next ones. I think I'm going to do one maybe every week. Also, want to let folks know that I'm really excited that I put out the schedule for Marketing Tool Talk webinars for the next couple of months. And I have a special guest who's going to join me in February. I have a longtime friend. We've known each other for 25 years. She has spent 20-something years in PR and communications, but she also has an MLS from Pratt and was in public libraries in Queens in New York years ago. She got her MLS actually before I did. And she is going to come on, though, and talk to me about some of the pet peeves I have about PR and public relations and marketing, public relations and libraries. And she's going to help maybe bust a few myths. And we're going to chat, so it's going to be maybe a little bit longer. It might go the full hour, but I'm really excited, to have a guest on and to chat, and because we've known each other for a long time, and I know Stacy will have some excellent tips, some tools to recommend, ways for my library pals to have better media relations and to better make publicity and PR part of their plans. So excellent. I'm glad that I'm glad at least one of you was warmer today. Yeah, below zero for multiple days, and it's chilling in the bones as I get older here. So February is going to be Stacy talking about PR with me. In March, I believe we're going to talk about infographics. And in April, I have my buddy Ken Watson from Houston, Texas, who has become a bit of an Instagram marketing maven or guru, and since I only know how to use Instagram, or I only use Instagram for posting pictures of the things that I cook and the wine that I drink, I needed to bring in somebody to help talk to me with my library pals about how on earth can we actually make a little more sense of Instagram. It changes as often as Facebook. And I know I've seen a lot of, I follow a lot of great libraries on Instagram. They're doing wonderful things. So how can we be more effective and strategic about that? So I'm really looking forward to that in April. And then we'll plan out the rest of the year and see if I can get some more guests lined up. But you came here today to learn about survey tools. So let's get started on that. And okay, before we do that, let's share my screen. That would be helpful. So here we go. So come on, full screen. There we go. Marketing Tool Talk. As you know, I'm also the writer for the Marketing Library Services newsletter from Information Today, Tools and Hacks. Here's my most recent issue in January, where we talk about the Library Marketing Conference, and I talk about design tips and hacks for non-designers. Today's talk is based on a column I did a few months ago on survey tools, but this is a little bit different because some things have changed. So I always try to show you a tool that I really like, one that's my favorite. I try to talk about a tool that might be newer to you, and I try to show something that I think you and I can explore more of and see whether it fits into our marketing toolkit. I think a lot of us have access to some robust tools sometimes if we're part of a university library, an academic library setting. Maybe a university has assessment tool. They have, sort of the big guns, things like Qualtrics, which I happen to really like, and we've used it for the LMC conference, thanks to access from one of our academic library volunteers. But sometimes we want tools that are quicker, faster, that we want to get insights on something in a quicker fashion. We want something that's quicker to design, quicker to implement, easy to share on social media, that we want feedback on a campaign, we want feedback on a flyer, on an event. We're looking for input, or we want to show something that's maybe going to be a little bit of a viral or engaging content on social media. There's a reason quizzes are really popular, and I've seen libraries tap into that. But to do that, you want tools that make it easy, so that it gets out there and it's quick, and you don't always want to use something that's clunky or complicated or that has every bell and whistle, as if you're putting research through a review board. So there are tons and tons of tools out there. It is certainly not a SurveyMonkey only world anymore. In fact, not everything that's even that I've played with or tried is probably on this screen, although a lot of them are. Yes, and they're all real names. I mean, some of them are like, I can't believe, Survey Nuts, Survey Planet, but yes, real tools. Of course, there's Google Forms. Google Forms is completely, totally free. Can spit your data back out into a Google Sheet. Easy to use, easy to set up. Not always the most attractive or really professional looking forms, but they're simple. And especially if it's mostly for internal communication sources, then use what's easy. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. In fact, you're probably going to see an example. I've created a library marketing survey that I've used in variations, tweaked the questions, probably going back about 4 years. And I've created it in probably at least 4 of the tools on this list. You may see screenshots of it from Google Forms, from SurveyMonkey, from Zoho, Typeform. I think I was even replicating it lately in SurveyGizmo. The tools at the bottom of the list, Criblow, Quizzer, Playbuzz, those are the quiz tools, and those are the ones that especially have a real social sharing component. Poll Everywhere, I like, because I've used it in live presentations. I can use the little, I guess it's like an applet that plugs into PowerPoint, and I can create slides that input the code and everything from Poll Everywhere, and it will show it on the screen during the presentation. And if things are working completely right, it will also send the feedback live as people in the audience text. You used to be able to tweet, or you go to the website for Poll Everywhere and you enter your feedback on the questions that you're asking as part of the poll. Of course, Zoom, here where we are today, has a built-in polling function too, which if I'd been really on the ball this morning, I would have activated a poll to ask you which poll tools that you like best. But I was working on prepping some worksheets for my workshop in Tampa. So we're going to show you briefly inside, hopefully, of Poll Everywhere and Poll Daddy. Quizzer is still on this list, but I'm bummed because when I wrote about Quizzer and gave it as an example on my website and put it in my MLS columns back in 2017, it still had a free option. Late in the fall of 2017, they got rid of their completely free option. Now there are only paid plans available. And so I'm a little bummed about that. And you have to do a little more cost benefit analysis to figure out whether $25 a month for a quiz tool is really worth it. Playbuzz is probably what powers a lot of BuzzFeed quizzes and things you've seen all over Facebook, but there are completely free options that have this little bitty Playbuzz watermarking down there that will make it dead simple for you to use and to create a quiz that you can go and get some social engagement on Facebook, because those are the new rules on Facebook. Engagement. A separate conversation, you probably might want to see a post I put on my Facebook page yesterday, listening to one of my nonprofit social media guru friends, John Hayden, talking about what are we going to do with all the changes that have come up in Facebook. That's a whole other webinar, but the one thing is it's about engagement and comments. And so the more that you can get something where your patrons, your users, your community members are commenting and engaging on your posts, that's still going to help you to be seen on Facebook. So this is the inside of Typeform. This is the creation page inside of Typeform. Now, why do I love Typeform? Because I think Typeform is really pretty. It's the aesthetics of it. It's the aesthetics of creating the surveys. It's the aesthetics of the survey and the polls and the quizzes that you can create. It's the fact that it makes it really easy to personalize a survey. That's the whole thing, is that, for example, one of the first things you ask is, you might ask somebody their first name. They can even put in an initial or whatever they'd like. And then it will pass that information through to other questions so that it feels more like a conversation. And so the next question is, okay, hey, if I said, Jennifer, hey, what's your biggest frustration or challenge right now when it comes to marketing? So it feels more like an actual dialogue rather than just a click off the boxes. The other nice thing you'll see when I show you Typeform in a second is that it's only generally spitting one question at a time in front of somebody. They're focused. It doesn't look as daunting and intimidating as some of those really long forms on SurveyMonkey or Google Forms or some of the others might be. So I've been using it for a little while. I guess I don't know, maybe a couple of years. Free options, really nice, robust free options. And their paid plans are not painful. I really think that what it offers free is as good or comparable to some of the other tools like SurveyMonkey and such. So for example, if you actually go to this, slightly ugly looking bit.ly link, which is less ugly than the Typeform link above that bit.ly, 2 capital D P 1 capital G I C, takes you to this. This is a marketing mindset poll. In fact, I created this particular version of it just for the folks who are going to be in the webinar or watching one of the webinar replays to ascertain sort of where you are on a scale in terms of some statements that are commonly made about marketing. And then a version of this same poll I use in my workshops. So this is a version that you can take and you can literally, go check that out either now or later. In fact, I'm going to, well, I'll click it in a second and we'll go there. I'll put that link into the chat box when we go check it out behind the scenes. In fact, let's do that right now. So put that into there it is. So here's the same screen. And now if I can justify my chat window, that would be really awesome. Sorry, folks. The chat window is always hiding, it seems. There it is. There's my chat window. And here's the link in the chat window if anybody wants to take the quiz. So when I click let's start, here we go. You're seeing, there's 11 questions, but we're only seeing one. And you can customize the buttons, and it's just I don't know, it feels nicer for the interaction that you're having. So for example, I say Jen, and we'll personalize it. So we're going to do that. So now see here, it's passed in what I put here, and there it is, the question, pass that information right in here to the next question. The other nice thing is you can add images. You can also make questions and scales be using images, stars, bells, check marks. You can use icons. So it's a bit more of an accessible type form to use for surveys that I particularly like. So that has me excited, and it's generally why I am a particular fan of Typeform. So if you're interested, check it out. If you want to, like I said, play around with it, take this particular quiz, poll, whatever you want to call it, it's poll, on Typeform, and you can see the interaction and how that works. So let's go back to. So the other one that I've been playing around with a little bit more recently is SurveyGizmo. And this is the inside, and it's got templates, it's got survey banks and survey questions. There is a basic free plan. There are obviously also paid plans. I want to say the paid plan is also in the range of about $25 or so a month. It's around $200 or $300 a year, which for advanced logic, for access to additional question banks that have questions that have already been tested, pre-screened, that could be worth it, depending on how many surveys you're doing in a given year, how much data you need to collect, whether you already have other survey tools. I want to say, that again, it's very comparable to a SurveyMonkey, but if I remember, it's a few more benefits and features for the price. Because remember that SurveyMonkey is limited in terms of how many respondents you can have, how many questions you can ask in their free plans. If you're a larger library and you're going to ask something of your community, getting only 100 responses or less isn't terribly helpful if you're putting something out there to, a community of 15,000 residents, and you maybe hope for, a 10% return even. So that's why it's one thing that you want to look for, potentially those that offer a more robust, basic option, or that have a affordable paid plan that really gives you more features and you don't have to keep bumping up levels. I'll take you inside of this one for a second. So the thing you can see is these are some of the other ones that I've tested out that I've gone in and you can see. So there's Google Forms. In fact, here's my marketing libraries survey that was originally done. I think this one's like 2013 or 2014 in Google Forms. I created the same what info pros need to know. This was a quick survey I did to talk to get some feedback of what somebody who had just started off as an independent information professional wishes they knew or wanted to tell someone else. And that was a nice quick survey that gave me some good robust data that I turned into a conference presentation for SLA and took it to another conference as well. Question Pro is, again, it's an attractive, a nice aesthetic, works very well, very responsive for tablet, mobile, more paid plans here. Survey Nuts, this is one of their simple. Again, you can see, you can use icons. It's a very clean design, fairly modern. This is an example from a satisfaction questionnaire. And again, really good options on the free level with Survey Nuts. So just as a reminder, I do custom webinars, training workshops. You already know that I'm going to be in Tampa. I'm working on a series of workshops for the Massachusetts library system, working with a colleague in South Africa. and possibly also in North Florida. You know, I don't have to come there, although I like going to those warmer climates. But you know, you can also do one-on-one, just do a webinar just for your library on this or any of the other topics in marketing that I've spoken about recently. So before we get into Poll Everywhere, I'm going to go inside of, let's see if we can figure out where should be SurveyMonkey? Not SurveyMonkey, SurveyGizmo. There's SurveyGizmo. So SurveyGizmo, you can see this is, you know, tips on using the template. It's an easy drag and drop, similar to SurveyMonkey, similar to Typeform, easy to remove a question. This one came, again, from a template. You can see where there are add questions. You can add media. You can add a page. Now, generally, when it's a locked icon, that's something that's only available to those with paid plans. And it's something that's really common is that skip logic and branching logic are more advanced survey features, the kinds of things that if somebody says, if you answer yes, then it takes you down over to a question later in the survey. That's usually a function that's available only in paid plans. In the blog post that's going to accompany this, I will note which of these tools you can get some form of branching and logic for free, because that's rare. You know, when you can get it as cheaply as possible, that's kind of one of the tools you want to go for, because that seems to be one of the break points between what defines the higher end and the higher cost survey tools versus those that are lower cost and or a really good bargain, is if they include any kind of the skip logic for free or at low cost. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that SurveyMonkey does not on its free plan. So not only are you limited in terms of the number of responses that you can get, you're not going to be able to ask this. Now, that may not be something that you need when you're doing just a really quick feedback, checking the pulse of something after a campaign. You can see this is based on an educational template here, supporting services. So obviously, I haven't gone in and edited this template for, you know, a library marketing survey just yet. Let's see, we'll go back, switch again. So this was Poll Everywhere, and this is the screen from inside PowerPoint from when you use the Poll Everywhere little applet, what it creates inside of a presentation. So I had a question. This was at Computers and Libraries in DC. I asked what your favorite new tool was from a large presentation that I gave. And this shows up, and it shows the code that you can use, and you can text blank to that number. And this was still when they had their Twitter response active. And it got everywhere that I was, anybody who tweeted at me, at the InfoHound, on Twitter, you can see the names of tools that I mentioned: Canva, Easily, that was Unsplash, Social Jukebox. It also picked up everything else anybody was tweeting at me during that presentation, things like hashtags for the event, things they recommended, where they were. But it was, you know, but it makes this little word cloud, and it can even show that on the screen sometimes when you're presenting, or it shows it to those who are using the polling tool. That's a really nice, if you're doing training sessions, workshops, or like I was doing when I was authoring a presentation, and you want to have a more interactive component, and really nice free options from Poll Everywhere. So I was excited about that. This one up in the top left corner is Criblow. Criblow, social sharing, buzzworthy quizzes, and it's a bit like some of the meme platforms that I showed last month, in that you can use, copy, duplicate quizzes, polls that others have already created, and share those. In fact, you can see this one has a ton of, this 94,000 responses to the what book should I read right now. There's no way you can completely adapt this and tweak this and make it your own, or share it as is on social media with your branding, your logo on your Facebook page, and boom, instant content. instant engaging content, which Facebook likes. So Criblow is pretty similar in that regard to Playbuzz. You just have to be a little careful of going through and looking at some of the existing quizzes that are out there as to, for language, things like that. This is the dashboard inside PollDaddy. PollDaddy does do polls. It also does quizzes. You can do more full-fledged surveys. The interesting thing about PollDaddy is it's run by the company Automatic that basically creates and maintains WordPress, the WordPress software, and also WooCommerce. And so you can embed this on your website if you're running WordPress. You can also have a free account as long as you have a WordPress.com account, and that gives you access to a few more bells than you might get otherwise. It also has paid upgrade options as well. This is their question editor where I was going to go in and duplicate and create a test for my workshop talking about marketing mistakes. Now I have to admit it wasn't as intuitive as some of the others, so I haven't finished creating that test just yet because honestly I was a little tired. I didn't want to have to try and figure out how PollDaddy actually works, although there are plenty of tutorials and styles, but there wasn't, an easy to use template where I could just, click, drag, drop, pop things in and have something pop out ready for me to show you as I was working on this about a day ago. So, but it is an option. It's a free option. So before we get into asking what you liked, I'm going to go in and we're going to go back over here. In fact, so I'll show you this, for example. So this is where we are. We can, you drag and drop things. You drag and drop, well, or maybe you don't. See, this is another thing. Some of these others like Typeform, it's so intuitive as to what you do and where you click something inside the creation screens. So PollDaddy needs a little more learning from me on how to use this. The other one that's not on the list that I didn't put out on the very front screen, but that I did talk about in the Facebook Live this morning is something called a Kahoot. And Kahoot was created for the education market. And while it is mostly a teaching-based tool, but it's teaching of all levels. There are templates, there are users for professional and continuing education, training, development for business, higher education. So it's not just despite its bright primary colors. In a second, it's not just grade school. And let me just take you to Kahoot.com. Kahoot.com is where you're going to sign up and see if you're really bright. And just woo. Kahoot.it, which is actually what I mentioned in the Facebook Live, is where you log in to actually play the games. They consider them games, gamification. Most of these Kahoots or quizzes can be made public, and you can duplicate or copy one. You can add an image. You can add a video to a question. In this case, it's multiple choice. So this is where I'm building for the workshop that I'm leading, and I was working on which one of these is a good, unique value proposition. And you can actually see the answer isn't yet completed here, but you put in and you tell it which one is going to be the correct answer. And we'll just, oh, well, okay, fine. We'll close that for a second. Yes. Oh, all right. Probably I'll come back to that. So fine, I will say that that's not actually the correct answer, but we'll say it is. So these are the questions. You're going to give time limits. It gives points. I don't want to show it. It gives points for questions answered correctly. You use your device, use a tablet, a phone, and it'll give you a code. You go to Kahoot.it, and it gives you a multi-digit code, and you enter that, and then the participants use their phones or their tablets, or in this case, you could say team mode, and they use shared devices, and all that shows up on their screen are the 4 colored icons: the triangle, the green, red, blue, yellow, gold. and they push the button that corresponds to the question that they're going to, the answer. The question shows up on the screen. So again, this is a very live, in-person, interactive option, although I believe you can take this and watch it with your computer, watching the question show up on your computer and answering with your device. I haven't yet figured out how to both watch on the laptop or the desktop or the computer and answer on the computer, basically because it's like one's showing and the other one's answering. But it seems, it's cute, it's clever, it's easy, and it's dead simple, easy, to edit these questions, which was nice. In fact, the hard part isn't using the software. The hard part was coming up with questions to put in so that they produce the right learning outcomes that match. And it's, easy to share socially. So again, a really cute, quick tool that I was really excited about. You can duplicate questions like that. You can drag, you can drop them. I'm probably going to go back in and add some pictures to some of these here again. So in this case, which one of these is not one of the classic 4? The other thing, you have to think about your questions in terms of what fits a 4 option multiple choice or a 2 option. The minimum is 2. And you also have a limit in terms of characters. So there are some downsides. But on the other hand, you're keeping it simple and you want it to be fast-paced. You can also, this is where it encourages you to put in and to cite and credit the resources that you used in building these questions, especially since a lot of these can get shared. So I'm really excited. I'm excited about this because it really quickly let me create an assessment tool for me to use in my own workshops. That's different than, doing market research and surveys or creating content for marketing with quizzes. But you never know when we might need each of those as a mix. So I'm just curious, which one of these sounded interesting? Which one of these you think you might try? You can drop a comment in the chat window, or you can leave me a comment on Facebook or Twitter. I'm the Info Hound. That's how you find me. I'm curious if there's a survey tool that you're using that I haven't mentioned. Definitely let me know, because I want to put it in the blog post write-up that is accompanying this, that should be up really soon. MarketingToolTalk.com is where I will be putting the replays of this video up as soon as possible, given my travel schedule. And like I said, if there's a tool that you use, you like, that I haven't mentioned, let me know, because I'm definitely always on the lookout, especially for the ones that play nicely with social media and that give us engaging content. And it's getting a little harder to find quiz feedback tools that are on the free or cheap end there. So I'm keeping my eye out, looking for more. If you know of one, let me know so that I can share it with other library and info pro pals. And definitely check out marketingtooltalk.com. Share it with your friends to make sure they get on the list to get the invites for the February 8th, March 8th webinars that are upcoming, PR, infographics, and then April is Instagram. So I'm looking forward to all of those. And I appreciate those who came in for a little quick lunch and learn. I hope this 30 minutes will make your marketing easier in the rest of this month, that this gives you tools to do what you need to do so that you can market successfully. I appreciate your time and attention, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, great rest of your January. See y'all. And now, stop recording.